Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back for more Hearthstone. We have 2 victories we need to get between Paladin and Warrior today. And then we will be done with our quests. So, let's jump in there. We played as Warrior last. We'll play as Paladin this time. I'm just gonna go back and forth, back and forth. Last episode, I, near the end, started a rant about why I hate the Sci-Fi Channel and why science fiction and other, not just science fiction, but shows that will interest someone who doesn't appreciate the normal rom-com. Like Friends is a show that I would never watch. There's nothing probably wrong with it. It's just, if it's a relationship show, I'm not really going to get into it unless you can trick me into getting into it, like Supernatural sometimes tricks me into watching Supernatural, even though a lot of that is a relationship show. Um, and there were certainly series before Supernatural. Let's see. I guess it all kind of starts with Buffy the Vampire Slayer as the first modern fantasy sci-fi show that tricked me into liking a relationship show, because there's relationships going in that a lot too. But I think that was probably the first. And then you have Angel, which I didn't even watch Angel when it originally came out. Maybe it was on the UPN or something, and I didn't have UPN at the time. That's possible. You had Charmed, which is a very difficult series. Charmed to recommend anybody go back and watch, because you have this overall malaise, yeah, if either one of those are the right word, this overall feeling about Charmed where you like it. But when you start getting into the individual episodes and seasons, because it went on forever, it's really, really hard to pinpoint a time in which you actually are really, really enjoying it. It went definitely off the rails because one of the actresses is notoriously difficult to work with, and so they had to kill off one of the 3 main characters who were supposed to be sisters, and then create a new half-sister just to keep the storyline to make any sense at all. And then there were some good stories, and then there were some bad seasons that got into more silliness. The whole, I like it in general concept, and in actual implementation I don't like Charmed. I think if you were going to take the concept of Charmed, rewrite it, call it something different, have different actresses. I mean, it was starring 3 women actresses. That is excellent. It was way ahead of its time. I mean, we still don't really have a lot of that going on in TV these days. But they started, at times they were throwing boyfriends, at times they were throwing other people, so a little bit of a problem there, because you couldn't keep the focus on them. But they didn't do a lot of that. That's not a major complaint, really. The major complaint is the core of the concept is they were supposed to be good witches fighting demons. And it just got into this Dragon Ball power escalation thing where it was like, first season you're fighting one demon, just random demons. Second season you're fighting a super powerful demon. Third season, you're fighting the Council of Hell. Fourth season, you're fighting the new King of Hell, and then they start adding angels, and then you're fighting angels. Much like Supernatural, it's kind of like almost if Supernatural took their playbook right out of Charms,
Weapons ready.
because Supernatural, first season you're just fighting random creatures, and at least they expanded it out. They did do the smart move in Supernatural. They said, we're not just going to fight demons, we're going to fight all kinds of creatures, vampires, werewolves, all kinds of things. And kind of they backtracked on that, and now the latest seasons, it's pretty much just demons that you're fighting. And all the other creatures are limited to maybe 1 or 2 episodes a season. And then they throw in the angel side of it, and of course, whenever you throw the angel side of it, it's never like heaven is perfectly functioning and is going to help them and be on their side. It's no, heaven is messed up and there's a bunch of infighting going on there too. And so heaven becomes the enemy in both Charmed and Supernatural at times. Uh, and so there was Buffy, there was Angel, there was Charmed. What else? I don't know. I mean, what came out? Maybe there was just a little bit of a drought there. At some point, there was Heroes. Heroes came out, and Heroes for its very first season was very good, but for all the other seasons, it would go in some different wild direction that wasn't that good. And by the fourth season, this horrible writer's strike. I mean, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have stroke or anything. I'm saying it's just, it totally convinced the producers and the people who were against the strike to never hire writers again. And it still to this day, I mean, I think the strike was in 94, 96, still to this day it feels like they don't want to hire writers. They don't want the Screenwriters Guild involved. And we got so many of these Survivor shows. Survivor was the first, and I hate them all. I hate all these supposed to be reality shows where they are just as scripted, except for not as well. That's what reality really means. Reality means that they are going to do a bad job at writing a script. But it's still scripted. It absolutely 100% is still scripted. Just means they're going to do that. So the strike happened, and it screwed up Heroes. It screwed up at least 3 years of production of other shows. Shows got canceled. They got cut back. They had scab writers come in. The scab is somebody who works during a strike. And they weren't as good. We got tons and tons of reality shows. Like, I'd say 60% of the entire lineup on TV that was a written show got canceled and replaced with a reality show. And this is probably the downfall of TV. The point where it turned. And as of today, I watch very little TV because there just isn't that much good stuff. We have recently had a slight improvement in the quality of TV. And how did we get that slight improvement? Well, ABC bought Marvel. Marvel made very successful Marvel movies. And because of that, now the TV series are scraping what is decades of stories for the best of the best and trying to put those on TV as comic book shows. The first experiment on that before Marvel made all the successful movies was Superman. Superman has been on TV pretty consistently, and they do all right usually. Smallville was the latest Superman when you exclude all the cartoons. I think in reality, if you want to do comic book shows, the cartoons are by far the best because they don't have any limitations on budget as far as doing effects or anything like that. So before we had Smallville, we had Lois and Clark, which was a pretty good Superman. It was very much focused around the relationship of Lois and Clark more than it was really Superman. And it was alright, I suppose, but none of those really... That was pretty much the only thing you got, though. So instead of what we have now, where there are just tons of comic book shows, you'd have one Superman series. We, of course, before my time, had earlier Superman TV series and earlier Batman. I mean, you had the cheesy Batman TV series. They certainly had the right attitude with those series too, because they knew they were a niche, and they knew they weren't going to be prime time worthy, super popular shows. But they let them on TV because they had the free time to show on TV. Mine. Nowadays, they would rather do a Seinfeld rerun. Seinfeld is more than likely the best show that will ever be. I mean, that's a bold statement, but it's probably true. And it's still to this day on reruns beats most other shows. If you were going to put a new show out in a time slot, there are other good shows that they can fill up their time slots with. That's how we got this ridiculous system now where we have 200, 300, maybe even 400 channels of cable, and still there's nothing really worth watching on. Is that you can just fill them all up with infomercials and reruns of old shows that you've already seen or don't have interest in seeing. I mean, it's the whole cable system now that we can start over, now that we have the technology, should be thrown out, and it should all be just, if you're going to have a channel, it should be the channel of a show. So there should be a Seinfeld channel. That's the only channel on your setup where you will see Seinfeld, and you can sit there and just watch it. And it should be you watch them in direct order. And what am I describing right now, if you haven't figured it out? I'm describing Netflix. That's exactly what Netflix is. You pick a show, you watch it in order. You don't watch commercials because commercials don't sell. If you are a company and commercials are just a lie, is all they are. 100% a lie. It is the television channels, usually local channels, telling businesses they will get more business if they spend money to make and air commercials with them. And it's just not true. It doesn't really push people to spend more. Every single study out there that says it does is flawed, is a lie, it's just not true. I'm sure there probably are some people that do fall for it, but most people don't. I have to hope that everybody that's listening to this right now is smart enough to say, no, I'm not going to go buy a car because this commercial told me to. Or I'm not going to go drink a Coke because this commercial told me to. So, commercials should go away. Totally. There's no reason for them to exist. There's no reason, this is going to get a little political, but there's no reason that we as a society, us as individuals should want the rest of our society to spend more money. If anything, we should want them to spend less money on ridiculous things. What do I want of my neighbors? Okay, so we're getting away from TV now. We're getting into a political conversation. But think down, and what do you want of your neighbors? You want them to be prosperous enough so that they don't have any reason to come to your house and beg for food. They don't have any reason to come to your house and rob it. You want them to be prosperous enough that they can pay for their house, that they can feed themselves, that they can put gasoline in their cars, and that they can get to work. And those last two things are just barely true. You really would like your neighbors, as much as you would like for yourself, to be so prosperous that they don't have to go to work. And if they don't have to go to work, then they're going to have very little need to get gas in their car.
Job's done.
If everybody just had everything they needed, and that's what you should want for your neighbors. You want your neighbors to have everything they need, plus a little bit more so that they are happy and satisfied with life. I mean, there is a factor where people will get bored and start causing trouble. They'll get drunk and start causing trouble because out of boredom. That is a factor. Let's see. But that's all you really should want for your neighbors, in my opinion. So, why should we have commercials as a society? Why should we invent more products that don't really help? I mean, Coke is not an artistic creation. I'm sure some chemical designer will argue, yes, it was. It took great endeavor to create the formula for Coca-Cola. But it's not. It doesn't improve the lives, really. If anything, it hurts people because it makes them diabetic, it makes them addicted, and everybody knows it, whether they want to admit it or not. It's not improving society at all. A new car versus that's slightly better looking than your old car, probably not really helping society much.
One shot.
Diamond rings, jewelry. While they can be things of beauty, diamonds are practically worthless in reality when you stop putting a false worth on them and thinking they're worth something. Ooh, finally gonna get to see what these two boom bops do. Deal 1 to 4 damage at random enemy. That's interesting. Take a pause on this rant for a second. Warning, bots may explode. Death rattle, deal 1 to 4 damage to a random enemy.
I wonder.
It's an interesting setup there.
The gates are open.
I'll give it a shot.
Job's done.
Alright, so we saw a new card. Let's get back to our rant. Almost everything that's being sold is not an artistic creation. You can... The caveats of things that are artistic creations can wow, man. Talk about a combination there. The things that can be considered artistic and potentially beneficial to society in their entertainment, if nothing else, is things like music, paintings, art of any sort, movies, books,
Job's done.
Is there plays, musicals, things like that? I mean, that's about it. Everything else is utilitarian. Sure, people need clothing, but they don't need fancy clothing. They just need clothing. Sure, babies need diapers, but do they really need the fancy diapers, or is that just advertising? Is that just commercials? So, when you look at the things that are, let's break this conversation in half and go even deeper. When you look at the things that are art, who really benefits from in this our setup now? Who really benefits from art being created? A lot of times, I would say more often than not, it is not the person who created. If the artist, the actual original creator, does deserve significant compensation over just being an artist. Most artists I've known want to create. It is in their blood to create. That doesn't mean they should be starving artists, but it doesn't also mean that all artists should be escalated to a level of millionaire for their art either. Most of them don't get the vast quantities of wealth that is created. It is, if you write a book, it's the publishing company that has a system set up where you have to spend so much money that you can't just self-publish. They are the ones that benefit. If you are a singer, it is the music industry, which everyone should know that the music industry is just full of corruption, full of lying, full of deceit, and most singers, most songwriters, most musicians get close to nothing, and then there is a top 1%, let's say, not an actual number, I haven't done the calculations, but there's something like a top 1% that gets all the millions of dollars, and still they struggle because then they're in this situation where they've been given $1 million so suddenly that they go back to rampant consumerism and buy $2 million houses, and then they're $1 million in debt. And they do that. They do that like the first week. Because they just don't know how to deal with being rich because they've never been rich before. So, writers, musicians, actors and actresses, to some extent have it a little bit better, but not really. There's tons of TV and movie producing companies that are taking in the vast amounts of profit. And all of those are probably publicly traded companies, so that means most of their profits are then being siphoned off to rich people who invested in this crazy stock system we've invented. So the rich get even richer for doing very little work, if any. I mean, if you buy stocks, you're not doing any work. You're just investing money that you got some other way. And half the time it's not even your money.
Job done.
So that's the artist. Those are the things that actually have value that can be argued to improve or at least entertain society. What's the rest of the stuff? Well, there's needs, and then there are advanced or overpriced needs, where if you need to eat food, that's true. Do you need to eat a $100 Wagyu beef burger? No, you don't. That's a want. And so, yes, we have to fulfill people's needs. Yes, we want to entertain them and even try and go above their needs for maybe sometimes you do get the Wagyu beef burger, and that's fine if you do. On rare occasion, that's fine. It's fine to treat yourself. But I would much rather eat a $1 hamburger and make sure my neighbor was fed uh, something versus eating a $100 burger and then finding out that my neighbor is starving to death. That's partially out of compassion, but it is also a lot out of just selfishness. Because if your neighbor is starving, guess what they're going to come do? They're going to come to your house and beg. They're going to come to your house and rob it. And you can't just pass laws to get rid of that. You can't put up more security systems. You can't just pass laws and say it's illegal to beg and hope those people starve to death. It doesn't work that way because it's a system. There's some new person becomes your neighbor and is just as bad of a situation. So we have to try and lift everybody. Try and help everybody get at least their needs met, and then start working on getting everybody above their needs. Okay, so where am I at this rant? This rant has been going on forever. I started with this with TV, and I went into a rant that's not really related to TV. It's just commercials suck. They need to go away. Commercialism sucks. To wrap it up, it needs to go away. And the way it goes away is everybody needs to hoard. That's just the simple of it. Every single person needs to hoard every single dime they have. Don't buy Cokes. Don't buy new cars when your car is perfectly fine and will work. Don't buy fancy jewelry. Don't buy fancy clothes. You need to penny pinch and hoard everything to the point, and it will take a while for for producers to get this message, and they're gonna get the message basically by going out of business, and that's what we want. We want people to produce $1 million houses to go out of business and get the message that nobody is willing to pay that much. We need to put our feet in the ground, save our money. We'll be better off saving our money anyways, because what we spend it on almost every time is not worth it. It would be better to stick it in a savings account and make some interest. But we need the only companies that need to stay in business are the companies that are giving us just our needs at the lowest price. And that gets into a whole that does not touch upon part of the problem of our society is that the system is set up so that big corporations like Walmart can do that. But that's what big corporations are doing behind the scene. They are putting their foot down on the ground and saying, we will only buy and sell products from people who give us the cheapest, lowest price. So, it doesn't touch upon that. Yes, we do need local stores that will hire more people and pay them better and all of that. But that's a whole separate problem. And they're connected. Everything's connected, I know. But what we can really affect as individuals is we can hoard our money. And that's what everyone should do. Do not waste your money. Do not say to yourself, oh, it is 50 cents for a Coke. Where are you even getting a Coke for 50 cents these days? But don't say that to you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a penny. It doesn't matter if they start cutting pennies into eighths and it's an eighth of a penny. It doesn't matter. It's the principle. Save your money. Don't waste it on things. Only buy your needs. Only buy your needs. If you're miserable, maybe entertain yourself with something that's actually artistic. Local art would be really nice, too. if you want to go to a local play, you're probably going to be supporting that local play company a lot more than watching a movie. You know, all that money's going to corporations. And those corporations need to go be strangled to death. All corporations. Every single one of them. So that I'm going to end it here, in the rant here. That's my super political thing. I don't care about people commenting and saying why I'm completely wrong about it. I don't care. You're wrong. I'm gonna preemptively say you're wrong because I've had these arguments by everybody, and anybody puts on there is going to be anything I haven't heard before. I've thought about it. I've made my line in the sand, and I'm sticking to my opinion. So don't need to get comments. Don't need to get support comments. Don't need to get anti-support comments. This was my political rant, and that's my position on it. And I don't think I can go back to TV, really, at this point. TV sucks now. It really does. Every day I think about getting rid of all TV that I have. Every day I think about just going with Hulu and Netflix. And I don't even use Hulu, so really for me it would just be Netflix. And I barely watch Netflix, too. I just don't watch TV. I go to YouTube. And YouTube stuff is, totally will admit, YouTube stuff is not up to the quality level. It is not the same stuff. I don't watch any kind of like episodic show on YouTube, really. I watch personal people doing personal things, lots of people playing video games. Sometimes people talking about stuff, but I don't watch episodic shows. I don't watch any of that on YouTube. That would all be the Netflix, and I barely watch any of that. Well, it looks like we're gonna get a victory here. We're gonna do it the hard way, though, for sure. This person has just left the game. Let's try and go as fast as we can here.
Out of time.
I've got a huge gun.
It's gonna take a while to get this guy down, though. I mean, this is really a great example of where you realize how long one game of Hearthstone is. It can certainly feel like it is just a small amount of time, but it actually is quite a bit longer than you would think.
One shot, one.
And when you see this guy's not even playing, so this game of Hearthstone here is actually going very fast. It's still taking this whole amount of time to do it.
Almost out of time.
you start to realize, yeah, every game is taking like 7 minutes at least.
I'm ready.
We got the victory. We did it the hard way. We've got the thing. How many games have we played though? Man, I got in a rant. I totally, I need to apologize for that. I mean, sorry. Sorry, audience. If you're still listening, I'm sorry for getting into such a rant about consumerism and its actual place in society instead of the way it's set up now, which is just awful. It is just awful. You know, let's redo our rogue deck and then do one game and then we'll call it an episode. So I don't know if I've done 4 games. I don't know if I've done 5. I don't know if I've done 6. I got into such a rant. But we'll call it a game after this. Create a new rogue deck. Now, the rogue is pretty much decidedly about its weapon, as far as I can tell. I mean, you can also make a concealed deck, but I deal 2 damage to an undamaged. I think we want the deadly poison. Deal 3 damage, no. Deal 3 damage. Force a enemy to deal its damage to the minions next to it, no. Destroy your weapon and deal all damage to the enemies. Shame I don't have another one of those. Alright. Deal 1 damage, draw a card. Summon a bandit as a combo. Give your weapon +1 attack. We definitely want those. Deal 1 damage and draw a card. We'll take the gold version and this version. Notice here, Fan of Knives, gold version, regular version. Takes up more space in this coming down here. It doesn't really matter, but it does take up more space. Let's see, Assassin's Blade. Yes. Return a minion to owner's hand. For Kidnapper. This seems new. Return all minions to their owner's hand for 6. Or summon a guy and return 1 minion to his hand. I'll take this guy since he is unique to rogue. And then, so what do we want in our neutral things? Because we only got 10 cards out of that. Let's go ahead and throw in the wisps. We may take them out. Return 1, remove 1 durability from your opponent's weapon. This might be a pirate deck after everything is said and done. Playing a pirate with the assassin rogue would make sense. Has charge when a weapon is equipped. Okay, so I guess I'll throw this guy in, but he's not really that useful. If you play him on the first turn, you're never going to have a weapon equipped. You could only play him on the 3rd turn or later, and you actually get charged. But I'll take him at the moment. Just put the basic things we want in there. Do I need the Swamp Ooze? Not really. Put in the Noitron. Gain attack equal to the attack of your weapon. Second turn. Again, you can only play this on the third turn. I'll put it in there, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense. These pirates cards so far haven't made a lot of sense. Put the owl in there. It's really hard to argue not to have the owl in it. Just put the mana wraith. We have seen so much success with the mana wraith. You would have to make a great argument to not have mana wraiths. Not gonna use Recombobulator. He was cool to play with, but no. I mean, it's just too random. When you summon a pirate, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. Well, I guess we're doing a pirate deck, so let's throw that in there too. Let's see. Spell damage. Your opponent puts a minion. Gain attack +1. No. No cards. Let's see. Nope, none of those. I'm feeling very light on taunt cards. I'm feeling very light on charge cards. I'm feeling very light on lots of cards at the moment. Let's go ahead and put that guy in there. Man, I don't have a lot of pirates. I mean, there are more pirate cards out there. I just don't have them. I guess. Fugan. I mean, here's a pirate we could throw in there. Might be worth it. Let's see, let's get Starlog in there. Rage, your weapon has +2 attack. Is this ever gonna work? Spectral Smith? Would that ever work? Let's go ahead and put him in there. And we'll take him right back out. So we're at our 30 max now. Which is also our 30 minimum. You have to have 30 decks in your cards in your deck. I wonder if they'd ever change that. And say, okay, from now on you can have 50 in your deck. Let's see. So I want Kel'Thuzad in my deck, so let's take out a Spectral, put in Kel'Thuzad. I am not feeling good about this at all. Let's see. I am not feeling great about this deck at all. Do I want to throw one of these guys in and throw out a Wisp? Sure, why not? We'll throw out the Wisps, throw in these guys. That's everything we can do. I mean, that's literally everything we can do with a weapon. And we threw in Pirates. And because we threw in Pirates, we threw out several cards that probably would be better. Probably would be better. Well, let's play a game with this and just see. Let's just see. Yep. So Rogue was here, now Rogue is down. At least we're getting around to rebuilding these things. Some of these decks I have built once and did nothing with them. Like 35 wins on Rogue. Have not gotten anywhere on wins. I am 255 of 500, which is ridiculous on that, but on Mage, and Mage is the thing I've played way more than anything else. As you can tell, we are nowhere. I think if we got everything to 500, I'm gonna have to reevaluate my life a little bit. Just 500 victories on 9 different characters. I'm gonna have to reevaluate what I'm doing with my time if I got that far. I mean, if it works, it works, and people
Watch
still want to watch it.
your
That's fine, but it seems like such an unreachable, unattainable goal.
Job done.
Big Daddy 84. Obviously fan of that movie called Big Daddy. And there are 83 other fans of that movie. There we go, we'll throw Mana Wraith in there. Love it when I can double Mana Wraith. Just irritate them. I can feel the rage. Yes, embrace the dark side. So, let's see. If I put this here, and this here. Now this will only gain 1 with this
Here
weapon,
we go.
but
Here we go.
I can summon this next turn, and then this will be 3, and that'll make it a 5. It'll take 2 turns, but summon this next turn, summon this the turn after. Deal this damage to all enemies. So if I use this card now, it would take 1 damage. Ideally what I'd want is 2 poison things. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead
Here
and
we go.
attack with this. Summon this. And attack with this. Next turn, these 2 go out. So, pirate things seem to be working. At least so far. So we play this. And we play this. And we attack. And we
Here
attack.
we go.
Couldn't play this because then I would lose my good weapon, which I don't want to lose. Not enough mana for this, and this would lose my weapon again.
Locked and loaded.
Alright, so let's put this down. Let's put
My
this
shield
down.
for Arthur.
Die, landlubber.
Die Landlubber. I like it. I like it a lot. I haven't ever played with this character, so I don't recognize
Here
the
we
cries.
go.
Plus, it looks like feels like they've updated the cry system too, so that they say newer things, spiced it up a little bit, revoiced some of it.
I let the dogs out.
Potentially have won the game on this turn if they are not careful enough. I mean, logically he should go for this guy. That will leave me 3. It'll let me attack for 5, that's 8, and then do another for 5, that's 13. So I should have won the game now. Let us see.
Into the breach! Payback time!
Here
So we
we
attack the face for 5. We destroy a weapon and do 5 to everybody. And we win. Was that well played? I'm not sure. But I am surprised with this new deck. That seemed easy. That seemed like everything worked. Maybe we got lucky. We'll have to play with it some more and get some more experimenting out of it. But man, that seems like we did the right thing. It seems like we made a good new deck. Okay, so that's it for this episode. I want to formally apologize for ranting. Yeah, it's something I'm obviously passionate about. I don't want to see people in debt or in poverty. I'd rather see everybody happy and moderately wealthy. Not crazy wealthy, but moderately wealthy. As always, like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, but not about the rant. And watch every second of the video, if you can bear it. Have a good evening.